Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding the hidden traits of dangerously smart people, the ones who use innocence as their absolute ultimate camouflage. Have you ever interacted with someone who just completely flies under the radar? Well, the source material we're unpacking today breaks down the fascinating psychology of people who hide their razor-sharp minds behind a very, very unassuming exterior. Picture that person you know. You know the one. Soft voice, totally harmless face. They basically have the social aura of a houseplant. You might have initially underestimated them entirely, right? Maybe even assumed their IQ is roughly equivalent to, well, unsalted porridge. They just seem delightfully plain and ordinary. Nothing to see here. But what if they saw everything? That is the deeply unsettling realization that hits you maybe 2 whole months down the line. You realize they noticed every lie, every tiny micro-expression, every passive-aggressive comment, and every little manipulation trick you thought was just advanced psychology. And the absolute kicker here, they just let you do it. Why? Because truly dangerous intelligence rarely walks around announcing itself. Which brings us to sign 1, the unbothered ego. This completely captures how these individuals react when someone insults their intelligence. It's literally a masterclass in self-assurance. Look, if an average person's intelligence is questioned, their deep addiction to validation immediately kicks in. They will practically deliver a whole TED Talk about their high school GPA, their fancy job title, their 2007 IQ tests, or, that one uncle who met Elon Musk. But the silent strategist? Just a shrug, maybe a little laugh, because a tiger doesn't write a 12-page essay defending its stripes, right? It just keeps being a tiger. They do not need validation to confirm what they already know. By letting you underestimate them, they gain a massive edge. Think about it. You think they're an idiot, so you naturally drop your guard and try out your most obvious manipulations. Meanwhile, they're just sitting there thinking, oh, that's the trick you're using? Cute. They watch you quietly, kind of like a chess player holding back their checkmate, while you just assume they don't even know how the pieces move. Moving right along to sign 2, the silent observer. So most people treat conversations as just waiting for their turn to talk, but the silent strategist operates on a completely different level of active listening. They know people are highly predictable if you just gather enough data. So they make you feel incredibly heard by recalling highly specific, frankly bizarre details you completely forgot you even mentioned. We're talking about the insecurity you disguised as a joke 3 weeks ago, the exact place you want to travel with your soulmate, or your exact zodiac sign. Suddenly you're thinking, wow, this person really gets me. But here's what they're actually doing. They are operationalizing data. They use these tiny details to quietly build a psychological profile that would honestly make a data scientist jealous. By remembering what matters to you, they mirror your values, they build instant rapport, and they effortlessly guide conversations exactly where they want them to go. They literally mirror your communication style and your humor within minutes. Why? Because we inherently trust people who feel familiar. Okay, let's look at sign 3, the unpredictable paradox. Humans naturally love putting people into neat little boxes to reduce complexity. We label someone as smart, dumb, introvert, or extrovert. But the most dangerous minds, they break these categories entirely. Trying to understand them is like reading a book with half the pages missing. One moment they say something surprisingly naive, and then they drop a brutal, brilliant insight 5 minutes later. They can show intense kindness, but are clearly capable of ruthless decisions. They appear emotionally calm, yet they're deeply, deeply perceptive. You just can't figure them out. And there's a very powerful strategic reason for all this. Predictability is a vulnerability. It allows others to model and easily manipulate your behavior. By never exposing their entire inner world, and by remaining totally impossible to categorize, they ensure nobody can ever truly manipulate them. You might feel super close to them because they share a small vulnerability at just the right moment, but actually, you know almost nothing about their true inner workings. This brings us to sign 4, the weaponization of silence. When handling conflict, they don't endlessly argue or explain, which, let's face it, usually just weakens your position anyway. Instead, they weaponize absence. Average people absolutely panic around silence. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad? Should I send another message? Maybe a meme? Wait, maybe 2 memes? When someone stops replying for a few hours, the average mind goes into a frantic spiral of overthinking and anxiety. The strategy here is painfully simple. No drama, no lecture, just absence. By simply withdrawing access and hitting pause, they let your own anxious brain do all the convincing and correcting. You start reflecting, thinking, why are they distant? I should probably fix this. They literally do not have to convince you to change your behavior. Your own mind does the heavy lifting. Because as we know, people only truly change when they reach the conclusion themselves.
And finally, sign 5, intuition is actually pattern recognition.
What people romantically call a mystical gut feeling or some kind of psychic ability is actually just rapid pattern recognition built from quiet observation. It's essentially an internal lie detector test. Dangerously perceptive people watch actions because, let's be real, words are incredibly cheap. Anyone can say, "I care about you," or "I will never replace you." But revealing actions, they tell the true story. Someone who lies frequently, avoids accountability, or just magically disappears when it's convenient. The silent strategist completely ignores the cheap words and tracks the solid data of behavior. Because consistency reveals character. If someone lies about small things, they will inevitably lie about big things. And if someone constantly blames everyone else for their problems, well, guess who becomes the villain in their story later? You, for sure. This is exactly why these highly perceptive individuals can accurately read a person within mere minutes of meeting them. The patterns simply scream louder than the words. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own interactions today and ask yourself this one final question. Once you see the patterns, you really can't unsee them. So who is actually holding the psychological edge in the room? Are you the strategist quietly observing, or are you the one being observed? It's definitely something fascinating to think about. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this, and I'll catch you next time.